listener. Before we begin, I want to invite you into a different kind of space. This is not a space for rushing. It is not a place for productivity. It is a sanctuary for reflection, silence, and presence. So wherever you are, whether you're lying down, sitting by a window, or walking quietly outside, I invite you to take one slow, deep breath. Inhale deeply, hold for a moment, and exhale slowly. Let your shoulders soften. Let your thoughts loosen their grip. Allow yourself to simply arrive here. Because in this episode, we're going to explore something that cannot be rushed, something that has been spoken of by mystics, poets, and seekers for centuries. It is called the dark night of the soul. These words may already stir something in you. Perhaps you felt a strange emptiness in your life, a season where joy seemed to vanish, where meaning slipped through your fingers, where even the things that once brought you comfort now feel hollow. If so, you are not alone, and you are not broken. You may, in fact, be walking through the very passageway that has carried countless souls before you into transformation. The dark night of the soul is not just despair. It is a profound spiritual experience, a sacred unraveling, where the old self dissolves and the true self begins to awaken. Over the next stretch of time, we will move together, slowly and gently, through what the dark night truly is, why it happens on the path of awakening, what it feels like, and how to move through it. And most importantly, the gifts waiting for you on the other side. So stay with me. Let this not just be something you listen to with your mind, but something you allow yourself to feel, to breathe into, and to recognize within your own life. Now let us step into the heart of this journey. The phrase dark night of the soul comes from the writings of St. John of the Cross, a 16th century Spanish mystic. He described a time in his life when all sense of God's presence disappeared. No comfort in prayer, no joy in worship, no clarity of faith, only silence, only emptiness, only night. But here is the key. For St. John, this darkness was not a punishment. It was not failure. It was a necessary passage, a stripping away of illusions, so the soul could unite more fully with the divine. Over the centuries, his words have spoken to seekers of every path, because the dark night is not confined to Christianity. Mystics of Sufism, Buddhism, Taoism, and even modern psychology all describe the same threshold: a collapse of the old self, an unraveling of meaning, and the beginning of a deeper way of seeing. So what is it really? The dark night is a spiritual crisis. It is when the structures of your identity, your beliefs and your attachments fall apart, leaving you in a space of disorientation. Imagine you've been wearing a pair of glasses your entire life. Through them, you've seen the world in a certain way. But one day, those glasses crack and fall away. Suddenly, everything looks blurry, confusing, even frightening. That's the dark night. It feels like a loss of connection to the divine, even if you once felt it strongly. A sense that the world has lost its meaning or color. The collapse of certainty, replaced by doubt or emptiness. An inner silence that feels heavy, not peaceful. And yet, and this is vital, beneath that silence, something new is happening. It's like the seed underground. In the darkness, it looks like nothing is happening. But life is stirring, roots are forming, transformation is underway. This is why so many mystics insist. The dark night is not the end. It is a passage. It is a womb, not a tomb. The poet Rumi wrote, "Don't get lost in your pain. Know that one day your pain will become your cure." So if you find yourself in this night, know that you are not failing. You are being invited deeper. In the next part, we'll turn to the mystical roots and stories that illuminate this path. Stories of those who walked through the night and what they discovered on the other side. Throughout history, the dark night of the soul has been spoken of in many voices, across many cultures. Though the language differs, the essence is strikingly the same. In Christian mysticism, as we mentioned, St. John of the Cross gave us the phrase. His companion, St. Teresa of Avila, described a similar journey. She spoke of the interior castle of the soul, where one must pass through chambers of confusion, dryness, and silence before reaching the luminous presence of God at the center. In Buddhism, we find parallels in what is sometimes called the dukkha jnanas, stages of deep insight where one confronts suffering, emptiness, and the impermanence of all things. Meditators describe feelings of despair, futility, even terror, not as an error, but as a natural stage on the path to liberation. In Sufism, the mystic poets speak of burning, longing, and separation. Rumi, Hafiz, and others often describe the soul's anguish when it feels cut off from the beloved. Yet this anguish becomes the very fire that purifies the heart and prepares it for union. Even in modern psychology, Carl Jung spoke of what he called the night sea journey, or the descent into the unconscious. He saw it as a confrontation with the shadow, those parts of ourselves we fear or repress. Though terrifying, it is through this confrontation that we are made whole. So, when you find yourself in that desolate silence, you are in the company of mystics and seekers who have walked this path before you. Their voices echo across centuries, reminding us that though the night feels endless, it is always moving toward dawn. As St. John himself wrote, "In the dark night of the soul, lovers learn to love more deeply than ever before." Now let's turn to the question that burns in so many hearts. Why does this happen at all? If the spiritual path is about joy, peace, and love, why must there be darkness? Why must there be emptiness? There are several reasons, each a thread in the tapestry of transformation. 1. The dissolving of the ego. The ego, our constructed identity, clings to control, certainty, and self-importance. Awakening begins to loosen those attachments, but the ego resists. When its foundations are shaken, it panics. The dark night often feels like death, because to the ego it is. 2. Stripping away illusions. Many of us build our lives on fragile structures, the idea that success equals worth, that relationships will complete us, that spiritual practice guarantees comfort. The dark night burns these illusions. What remains is raw truth. Painful, yes, but also freeing. 3. Confronting old wounds. In the silence of the dark night, unresolved grief, trauma, and fear rise to the surface. We can no longer distract ourselves. This is not cruelty, it is healing. Old wounds come up only because they are ready to be released. 4. An invitation to surrender. Ultimately, the dark night calls us to surrender, to let go of our insistence on controlling life, to trust the deeper current. This surrender is not passive, it is a profound act of courage. Here's a simple metaphor. Imagine a caterpillar in its cocoon. To the caterpillar, it feels like death. The body dissolves into formlessness. Everything it once knew is gone. If it could think in words, it might scream, "My life is ending. I am being destroyed." But in truth, something miraculous is happening. The caterpillar is becoming a butterfly. The dark night is our cocoon. It feels like death, but it is transformation. Let me share a reflection prompt here. If you wish, close your eyes for a moment and place a hand over your heart. Ask yourself gently, what am I afraid of losing? What illusions am I being asked to release? What would it feel like to trust that this loss is making space for something greater? Remember, surrender is not giving up. It is giving over. It is saying, I don't know where this path leads, but I will walk it with trust. As the Tao Te Ching says, when I let go of who I am, I become what I might be. This is the essence of the dark night, the letting go, so that a truer self may emerge. When someone enters the dark night of the soul, it rarely comes with a label. It doesn't announce itself. Instead, it shows up as a series of confusing, even painful experiences. Here are some of the common signs people report. 1. A sense of emptiness. Things that once brought joy, friendships, hobbies, even spiritual practices, suddenly feel flat. You may ask yourself, why does nothing matter anymore? 2. Spiritual dryness. Prayer feels like speaking into a void. Meditation feels empty. The sense of connection you once cherished feels gone. 3rd, loss of identity. You may feel disoriented, unsure of who you are. The roles you've played, student, parent, leader, seeker, no longer define you. 4. Isolation. Even surrounded by people, you feel profoundly alone. It's not that others abandon you, it's that you cannot feel the closeness you once did. 5. Deep longing. Paradoxically, the emptiness carries within it a profound yearning. For truth, for meaning, for God, for something real. Now it's important to pause here and recognize something. The dark night can sometimes look similar to depression, but there are differences. Depression often carries a sense of hopelessness, a lack of energy, even self-hatred. The dark night, while painful, carries an undercurrent of yearning, as though something greater is trying to be born. Carl Jung once said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. But one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. So if you find yourself in this season, you are not failing. You are not being punished. You are being asked to turn inward, to sit with the darkness, and to trust that something is being reshaped. Let's do a short practice together. If it feels comfortable, close your eyes. Take a slow breath in, and exhale gently. Now imagine you are sitting in a dark room. There are no windows, no doors, just silence. At first, it feels terrifying, but as you sit, your eyes begin to adjust. Slowly, you start to notice small details: the outline of the walls, the faint glow of your own breath, the rhythm of your heart. This is what the dark night teaches us. Even in darkness, there is life. Even in silence, there is presence. When we stop resisting, when we allow ourselves to sit quietly in the night, we begin to perceive a new kind of light. One that doesn't come from outside, but from within. Now the question arises, how do I move through this? How do I find my way? The truth is, there is no shortcut. The dark night is not something to escape, but something to walk through. Still, there are gentle practices that can support you along the way. 1. Allow, don't resist. The more we fight the darkness, the heavier it feels. Like quicksand, resistance pulls us deeper. But when we soften, when we allow ourselves to be where we are, the night begins to reveal its lessons. A practice. Each day, pause for 5 minutes. Place your hand over your heart. Whisper, "It's okay to be here. I don't need to fix this moment. I just need to be with it." 2. Stay grounded in the body. Spiritual crises can feel disembodied, like we are floating in nothingness. Return to the body. Walk barefoot on the earth. Notice the sensation of water on your skin. Eat slowly. Let the body remind you that you are alive. 3. Journal without censorship. Write down your feelings without judgment. Don't worry about beauty or grammar, just let the words flow. Many discover that their soul speaks through the pen when the mind grows quiet. 4. Seek gentle companionship. Though you may feel isolated, it helps to share your journey with a trusted friend, a mentor, or a spiritual guide. Not someone who will try to fix you, but someone who can sit with you in silence. 5. Find wisdom in silence. In the dark night, silence can feel oppressive. But over time, it becomes a teacher. Even 5 minutes of quiet each day, without phone, without distraction, can begin to shift the relationship from fear to presence. 6. Trust the process. This may be the hardest practice of all. To trust that even when you cannot see, something is unfolding. Just as the seed cannot see itself becoming a tree, you cannot always see your own transformation in the moment. So when you feel nothing is happening, remember, the roots are growing. Take another slow breath with me. Inhale, hold, exhale. Whisper gently, "I trust the process." Even when I cannot see, I trust the process. You may need to remind yourself of this many times a day. And that is okay. Trust is not a one-time act, it is a practice. As you walk this path, know that you are accompanied by the countless souls who have walked it before, by the quiet strength within you, and by the mystery of life itself, which never abandons its own. As we come to the close of this journey together, I want to leave you with ways to integrate what we've explored. The dark night of the soul is not something to be solved, but something to be honored. So how do we honor it? 1. By naming it. Sometimes simply recognizing, this is the dark night, brings relief. It means you are not lost. You are on a well-worn path of transformation. 2. By walking gently. There is no need to push yourself to fix it. Walk slowly. Rest often. Be tender with yourself, as you would with a dear friend in pain. 3. By trusting cycles. All of nature moves in cycles, day and night, tide and ebb, growth and rest. Your soul is no different. This night is part of the cycle, and dawn will come. 4. By remembering you are not alone. Though it feels isolating, countless souls have walked this path. You are held in a lineage of seekers, mystics, and ordinary people who have found light through darkness. Let's end with a short guided reflection. If it feels right, close your eyes once more. Take a slow, deep breath, hold and release. Now imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast night sky. It is dark, yes, but also filled with stars. Each star represents a soul who has walked this path before you. You are not alone. You are surrounded by quiet companions. Place a hand over your heart and whisper softly, I am not broken. I am becoming. I am not lost. I am being led. I am not abandoned. I am held. Stay with these words for a moment. Feel them not just as ideas, but as truth. And when you are ready, open your eyes. The dark night of the soul is not easy. It is perhaps one of the most difficult passages a human can endure. But it is also one of the most sacred, for it strips away illusion, and it awakens in us a deeper way of seeing, a truer way of being. As St. John of the Cross reminded us centuries ago, the endurance of darkness is the preparation for great light. So if you find yourself in the night, hold on gently, trust the process, and know that the light is already on its way. Thank you for allowing me to walk with you in this exploration. May you be blessed in your journey, may you find courage in the silence, and may your night give birth to a radiant dawn.